You see it happen all the time. Men with less intelligence, less discipline, and less talent somehow walk right into rooms that you cannot access. Meanwhile, highly capable outsiders stand outside, wondering why the most lucrative opportunities never reach them. We are taught that social access is a reward for hard work. We believe that if we build a strong resume, attend the right networking events, and ask politely, the gates of influence will naturally open. But the elite do not operate on fairness. They operate on a hidden framework of psychological leverage. Niccolo Machiavelli understood these unspoken rules centuries ago, and the most powerful circles in the world still quietly pass them around boardrooms and closed networks today. The fatal mistake most people make when approaching these circles is projecting need. The moment you approach a powerful person asking for a favor, an introduction, or simply validation, you broadcast desperation. Powerful people detect that weakness instantly, and they dismiss it just as fast. To change how these circles perceive you, you have to adjust your natural impulse to seek their approval. Gaining access isn't about being liked for your personality. It's about being recognized for your strategic value. Most ambitious people approach power the obvious way. They chase the front entrance, asking gatekeepers for a moment of their boss's time, hoping to appeal to someone's mercy. That direct assault almost guarantees rejection. People at the top do not want to hear about your struggles. They only care about utility. Before you ever attempt to make contact, you must study their environment, identify a high-level stress point, a threat to their reputation, or a bottleneck in their company, and position yourself to solve it. To deliver solutions, map out their ecosystem and build relationships within their unprotected networks first. Once trust is established, move inward. Frame every proposition around what they gain, showing them the exact advantage of opening the door. As you cross that threshold, you have to adapt to their reality. You study their pace, their priorities, and the specific language they use, then subtly reflect it back to them. When you skillfully mirror someone's worldview, their emotional defenses lower without them ever realizing why. You stop asking for help. By solving complex problems and aligning perfectly with their environment, you transition from an outsider into an indispensable asset, and people with power protect their assets. Modern advice constantly tells us to be vulnerable. We are told to overshare our plans, explain our insecurities, and remain endlessly accessible in messages and emails, believing this proves our loyalty. In the mechanics of power, complete transparency is a fatal flaw. When you constantly explain yourself, you become entirely predictable. And people who are completely understood are easily controlled. Look at this chart. Your perceived value spikes when your availability drops to zero. Scarcity makes your attention a high-value commodity. Apply that scarcity to speech. By tolerating awkward silence, you create pressure, making insecure opponents panic and unintentionally expose their flaws. You apply this discipline to your ultimate ambitions as well. You allow people to see only the fragments of your plans that directly benefit them. By holding your cards close, you prevent rivals from mapping your trajectory or sabotaging your next move. This requires a mastery of camouflage. Externally, you appear entirely appropriate, socially calibrated, and perfectly conventional. Internally, you maintain a ruthless, quiet calculation that no one else is permitted to see. By restricting access to your time, your words, and your mind, you stop being background noise. The less they know, the more they analyze you, transforming your presence into a magnetic, unpredictable force. Once you finally enter the inner circle, another delusion ruins countless ambitious people. They let their ego take over, acting on a naive desire to prove they are the most talented person in the room. Powerful leaders tie their entire identity to a feeling of superiority. If your brilliance makes the person above you feel insecure or overshadowed, they will smile at you in public, but quietly plan your immediate removal behind the scenes. Instead of competing with the leader, you secure your position by looking at what they are fighting against. Identify their critics, rivals, or threats to their reputation. When you align yourself against the exact same opposition, you tap into the primal bonding power of a shared enemy. And when you inevitably face your own enemies, you do not waste your focus on emotional revenge. Strategic operators contain their rivals, study them to expose their own blind spots, and ultimately extract resources or intelligence from them. Throughout all of this, your most critical defense mechanism is your reputation. In high-level networks, perception moves faster than facts. You have to aggressively protect your name against even minor public doubts and ruthlessly cut ties with weak or chaotic individuals whose poor standards might attach to your image. Operating successfully within these circles requires a constant balance. You must prioritize the leader's ego and your own consistent reputation over the immediate urge to receive personal credit for your work. Most people will hear these principles, treat them as interesting intellectual entertainment, and go right back to their old habits. A rare few will actually execute them, replacing their emotional reactions with cold discipline. When you practice that discipline consistently, the entire dynamic of pursuit flips. You stop aggressively chasing down connections and forcing doors open. By building undeniable, calculated value, you develop a dense gravity that naturally pulls opportunities toward you. The modern world is quick to punish visible non-conformity and desperate pleas for attention. But it heavily and quietly rewards the calibrated operator who knows exactly when to blend in and exactly when to strike. By internalizing this framework, you stop moving through social environments at random. You become an intentional operator, moving through systems that most people never even realize exist.